Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. I hope you are meditating well here, yes, so that we are able to digest what we are studying. Use meditation to really digest this knowledge. Otherwise, it's not just about thinking. I always keep telling you. No? And another thing is, you see, when we study something like Vedanta, this text is, of course, Advaita Makaranda, the honey of non-duality. When you study something like this, you will understand its practical implication in our daily lives. It will give us a sense of detachment. It will give us a sense of inner stability and balance. And when there is a Advaita Jnana, everything in life is so much better. Your relationships, your family, your focus on whatever you take up, it improves enormously. You know why? You are in touch with your source. The main thing has been achieved. So, and whichever yoga you practice, you may be practicing devotion, bhakti yoga. Your bhakti yoga itself will get enhanced, improve with this knowledge. This knowledge somehow doesn't contradict with any other knowledge. Because this is knowledge of the source. The source is the same no matter what we do, isn't it? But there is a danger without this knowledge. Suppose we are practicing bhakti, or we are practicing karma. There is a chance that it may not become bhakti yoga and karma yoga. It can boil down to sentimentalism. Yes, have you seen people with absolutely no touch of knowledge? Anything coming into your mind will appear true to you. Mind itself is untrue. And anything appearing in the mind, if it appears to be true, then we are really trapped. Okay, so take care of emotion. Emotion, its nature is, if it is raised to a particular level, it will liberate. But if it is not raised, if it is just made, it's just a sentiment, untrained, unpurified, it can bring you down. So Bhakti Yoga is a crisis for most people. I don't know if you have seen this. Very many young people have told me this. We cannot practice Bhakti. Why, You have messed up so much with emotion, you can't now direct it to God. It's frightful. So take care of the mind. The main thing in all this, the first thing is you become conscious of the value of human life, and so we take charge of the mind. Make sure our memories, thoughts, emotions, everything bears a higher touch. This is the first step always in all sadhana. Please remember, purification. In fact, years and years of this, and then real sadhana, all this that we have been discussing, Vedanta Vichar, Ajapa Japa, all this can only happen if a pure mind is manufactured. Then your emotions will always be sweet, worthy of being offered to the Lord. Then Bhakti Yoga will be successful. And Karma Yoga, we can make an utter mess out of it without Advaita Jnana. Utter mess. Somewhere you have to apply your energy. That is not Karma Yoga. Untrained energy, just going waste, is not Karma Yoga. The fundamental principle of Karma Yoga is you are in full charge in such a way that whatever you work on becomes a yoga. It takes you to the highest. You touch the highest just through your action. That is Karma Yoga. So you see, you require this knowledge for everything. Please remember. It replenishes, renews every spiritual path. And if we have messed up with our minds, don't think we will come to any level of yoga. So this we have to take care of. This is practical spirituality. In our own homes, check and see. See, family life, always remember, it is one of the means to your spiritual evolution. It is a place for psycho-spiritual growth. You should make it like that. That is the purpose of a family. Make sure that you grow, you evolve through that. It's the bedrock of values. Because values arise in the family and social context, isn't it? So see that what it is meant for, that is achieved. And then rise above that. Rise above that. But if family itself is sickening, it's a big headache, then how are we going to proceed? So take care of these things. See, these are the foundations of the spiritual life. Everything in life can be made into a yoga. It depends on our intent. And God will help if we are of that type. Be humble, be simple. The spiritual soul is like that. Naturally humble and extremely simple. Because you have no axe to grind. You have nothing, you don't require anything of the world to fulfill you. So you become very simple. And your emotion, your love is for God. And the people in your life, they are meant to serve the people who come into your life. If you make these things clear, you see, spiritual life will be wonderful. That's why Advaita Jnana is so very important, so that our any yoga we practice becomes very authentic. There's this talk on Bhakti Yoga and emotional intelligence. You can see that. So that you don't think Bhakti is, something anybody can practice. Many times people are not able to practice it because they have not worked on their emotional life. It's a total mess. How can you offer that kind of emotion to God? So first work on all this. It's very important. With this background knowledge, see, the very fact of thinking, I am the pure, unsullied, untouched, liberated, pure being, existence, consciousness and bliss. It is so liberating, isn't it, to the mind? In fact, the mind gets shocked when you give it something like this. Yes. So keep this background knowledge. That is the truth about my being, my real nature. It is of the nature of pure consciousness. It is not of the nature of the ways of the mind. It is neither emotion, nor thought, nor will, and all these perverse ways of the mind. It is none of that. And with this background knowledge, we will cultivate the virtues of the higher life. All these virtues, see, read the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna every day. You will know what you have to cultivate. Nothing more is required actually. Gospel has everything, and it will change your mind over the years. The essential points Thakur is giving us. That is the way to get this real transformation and spiritual experience. Please remember, Swami Vivekananda used to say this: an ounce of practice is worth more than, cartloads of just theory. And it is only the practical spiritual life that will help you. So take care of the sadhana is primary to everything. Now you see, today's verses have very many wonderful ideas. Go to verse 13. Shad vikara vatam vetta nirvikaro aham anyatha tad vikaran anusandhanam sarvatha navakalpate. I am the witness of all the 6 states of change. What are these 6 states? In traditional formulation, you see, it is about what we pass through in life: birth, then existence, then growth, change, decline, and death. These are the 6 states of change. I who change not, am the knower of these 6 states of change. These 6 states of change pertain to the body and mind, not to me. And I know that these changes are happening because I am changeless. Otherwise, the awareness of that change is quite inconceivable. See? Otherwise, how do you know what is changing? Only when you are at a point of changelessness. See, this is a primary argument of Vedantins against Buddhism. If I was nothing, how would I detect change? Because I am at a vantage point of changelessness, I can detect change. So this is what they are telling. And it's a profound verse. If you observe and see, actually speaking, awareness is the only continuum, I said. Continuum itself means it is changeless. And that is why you can see all the changes of the body and mind. See, Vedanta gives very many such pointers. Suppose I showed you a photo of yourself as an infant. You wouldn't even recognize it, isn't it? Your mother would recognize, but not you. And then a toddler, and then a teenager, and then a young person, and now as you are. See, you know very well the same being. I was that. How do you know? You don't say, oh, that toddler was somebody and I was somebody. I am somebody. The same, oh, this was me. This was me. This was me. See how I was? This continuous I sense has persisted. And you are seeing change of body, change of mind, so much change, isn't it? In life, we undergo tremendous change. But who's the witness of that change? And how I am very pleased being the witness of that change, you see. Happily I say, yes, I was that infant, then that toddler, then that teenager. So we are actually at a point of changelessness. Whether we know it, see, this is not inferential. This is actual, isn't it? It's everybody's experience. So that means there's something unchanging in me. Or rather, I am changeless. So I detect change. And not just this. See, anything happening in your mind over a period of time. After some time, you have this tendency to say, oh, I used to think like that. But now I know better. Experience means this only. I used to think in a particular way, then I changed my way of thinking. Okay? After many more observations, I changed my way of thinking. Now, if you are capable of this, I used to think like that and no more, that means there's a point of changelessness again in you. Any experience of life, if analyzed to its depths, will take you into Advaita Vedanta. That is its nature. And that is why you must hold this knowledge, tie it in the hem of your cloth, and then do whatever you want to do. Who said this? Thakur, Sri Ramakrishna said this. Why did he say this? That important is this knowledge. The fact that I am already liberated, the fact that I am already complete and full within myself, this is such a liberating idea for the mind. No matter what situation comes in life, what happens, I must have this inner consolation, this inner understanding that, well, it's fine because it doesn't touch my core. Then you can handle it. Otherwise, all earthquakes and volcanoes will happen right within us, isn't it? Life can throw you off balance at any point of time. It's only this kind of a understanding that comes to our aid. That's why you see those who are spiritual usually lead a very mature life. Have you seen? They know where to invest time, energy. They are relatively well stable within themselves and they are reliable. But absolutely no touch of spirituality and you are at the mercy of the external all the time. What does it get you? So in practical life, this matters all the more in everyday life. Vivekananda used to say this knowledge is not for mountain caves. It is for practical life, everyday life. So don't think we are discussing some philosophy or somebody's philosophy. We are discussing the truth about ourselves. And the different ways of the mind, that the correction of that doesn't happen while you are within the mind, identified with the mind. See, this you should understand. To make any change, any kind of change, you need to be at a point away from that confusion. So this is where spirituality helps, Advaita Vedanta helps. When you are at a point of awareness, you can see the silliness of the mind and take steps to change. If I'm identified with the mind, how will I change it? completely. So that is why getting that inner serenity and strength through these scriptures, through meditations, and then I handle the everyday affairs of my life. This is how it should be. That is why both Ramakrishna and Vivekananda insisted on this. And mother, of course, she always said, you are Advaitins. Because Advait Jnana is so important. Don't discount or dismiss it as some kind of philosophy. It is the very nature of existence, the true nature of things. Every day some dose of that should fall, isn't it? See, many of us get up in the morning and we take Jagannath Prasad or Ganga Jal, something like that. One dose of Vedanta also should go in. Advait Vedanta, the real truth. Then he says, the next verse continues the analysis of change. Tena tena hi rupena jayate liyate muhuhu. Then vikari vastunaha stesham anusandhatrita kutaha. Which means the form of a thing subject to modification comes into being and dissolves every moment. How can such a thing itself be aware of such changes? See, it's a deeper analysis he is going into. Everything that is changing, modifying, how is it possible for it to be detected if you are already in it? It is only possible to detect it when you are the awareness that is watching it, isn't it? See the different modifications of your mind going on. Obviously you are at a point where you can detect the change, isn't it? Anything happening in life, you are its witness, and we are identified not by default but by choice. If you are identified with something, it's your own doing. It's not your default state. Are you getting it? I'm very, my family, it keeps me preoccupied, so many things to do, and then people hurt me because I allowed them to hurt me. I went ahead and identified. See, maturity in life means there is certain detachment even from relationships. Don't think detachment is a fort of the sadhus. Every mature life is somewhere it understands the importance of detachment. Our identity is not invested in only in relationships. It is not invested in our career and qualification. We think it is. That's the problem. That's not your default state at all. It's a choice you have made. So at some point in your life, you will understand that a little detachment is good. It's very good, for a healthy mind. Detachment is good. Otherwise, simply leaning on others for a little smile, a little sweet talk, that somebody should praise me so that my identity stays intact. Who's asking you to defend such silly identities? So we must understand this in life. Otherwise, even after 50, till 50, okay, you were busy tending to your career, your children, everything. You gave them an education. Now, next you will be busy with what they should do, what they should not do, whom they should marry, whom they should not. Even when the grandchildren come, you will be busy with how to raise the grandchild. Tend to yourself first. Give the right sanskars at home and leave them to themselves. This is very important. If there is no detachment in life, there will be no real knowledge. And there is only the whirlpool taking you. Real chakkar. So take care of this. That's why they are insisting on all these kinds of verses, They keep telling it again and again, that detect that point of changelessness within you and stick to it. Stick to it. Nothing else matters. So long we thought, well, something has to come into my life to make it joyful and happy. If life unfolds fully from within, you will be always joyful and happy. Nobody has to come into your life. If God comes, it's more than enough. This understanding should come. This is the maturity of life. That doesn't mean you are running away from life. It means you give things the place they deserve. You give things their place. The primary aim of all human life is to touch its source, to evolve and blossom fully as a complete life, and to get its joy from within. Then if you become like that, you'll see everybody will come to you. You don't have to call or invite, send out invitations. Everybody will come to you because they know that person has something which he's radiating. I don't have that, so let me go and find out. So this complete blossoming from within is what Yoga Vedanta is about. And it's so obvious. See, that's why people are always misinterpreting the highest levels of spirituality. If you ask why people ran to the Buddha or to a Sri Ramakrishna, why do people flock to religious personalities or spiritual men? Why? What is the power of attraction there? There's no material gate there because they cannot give us anything materially, isn't it? Yet why that pull? Obviously that being, see, mother, even when mother was in Jairambati, hundreds of people flocking to her, and mother had to tend to everyone as a mother. Why we feel that pull? Because that being radiates a level of knowledge, peace and joy which is not of this world. So the inspiration is, I can become like that. I also have that same divine spark within me. I can become like that. This is the whole beauty of the spiritual life. It makes you independent. So the 14th verse, same thing. See, change can only be seen by that which endures, which is changeless. It is because consciousness is the steady light that illuminates experience. That is why we perceive change. The ever changeful can never be the knower of change. Isn't it? The knower of change can only be the changeless. And there's only one changeless thing in you, your consciousness. Is it ever absent? Consciousness? Ever present. Is it ever changing? Never changing. And the world around you? Always changing and goes in and out of your awareness. And it has, its swabhav is change. Prakriti's swabhav is change. Only fortunate thing is, it is an object for you to illumine. It is not part of you. Which means what? Your mind is yours, it is not you. Your emotions are yours, but they are not you. Your thoughts also, your will, your memories, your actions, they all belong to you, but they are not you. Your consciousness illumines them from within. Isn't this itself a very liberating idea? So this is what Vedanta does for us. Now here he's given 3 points how Vedanta puts forth its theory and shows where Buddhism is limited. We did not go into that, but this is a very powerful idea. We can't understand change without the concomitant idea of changelessness, and that is why the fact that I perceive change means I am changeless somewhere. And that can be only in consciousness, only in awareness. So now the 15th verse, also you see, watch it carefully. Nacha swajanmanasham va drashtum arhati kaschana tauhi prag uttara abhava charama prathama kshanau. Tauhi prag uttara abhava charama prathama kshanau, which means no one is able to see their own birth or death. For birth is the non-existence at the last moment of the previous life. It's a strange way of putting it. And death is the non-existence before the first moment of the next life. Okay, so now we will go a little bit into this, what they are trying to say. The first sentence says, no one is able to see their own birth and their own death. Anybody saw their own birth? No. Why? When did we realize we were on this planet? We were not identified with the body, and there was no this kind of mind working. We were just conscious entities, and no sense of thought and emotion or something, just hugging to the mother, and she was all our entire world, because mother only is life, she is food, she is care, she is everything at that stage. So that kind of an entity, that is why there is no memory of birth. And almost till the age of I think till about 16 months, even I consciousness was only flickering, not fully developed, which means I am an entity separate from this, and I'm an individual. That sense also only it had come, but not like a continuity, not that kind of a thing. So that was how life began. So we did not know our birth, did not see our birth. Only suddenly one day we realized, oh, I'm here, and this is around me, and I have to make my way through this now. This is how we began life, okay? And then some parents came and told us that that's why you have to study, you have to know the world, you require knowledge, and our ABC and 1, 2, 3 and all that started, okay? Play school started. So we did not know the source of our birth. No idea of that. And even death. See, we may speculate anything now. I can give you a nice story about death, what happens and where we go and what we do. But has the dying man ever spoken about death? These NDE people have spoken quite a bit about death, because it's very authentic experiences. Near-death experiences happens to many people. But the person who has passed out completely is not able to talk about death. So then what is that point where, see, we use all kinds of strange terms. We say when the soul passes out of the body. Soul did not pass, Sukshma Sharir passed out of the body. Soul is ever as it is. Soul does not travel from point A to point B. In its light, all this drama is taking place. So soul ever is, and it's not passing out of the body anywhere. But your equipment of mind and Sukshma Sharir includes 3 koshas. What are they? Pranmay, Manomay, Vijnanmay, and the last one, Anandmay Kosh, is the causal body. So this passes out with the light of the Atman. This passes out, and according to its karma and its sanskars, it sojourns, it travels. The travel is more of the nature of not that you are the way the physical body travels. It is more of in the way of what it resonates with, it goes there. So here only you must think and see, what does my mind resonate with? With Vedant? Or does it resonate with Vedant and Bhagavad Gita? Or does it resonate with all sorts of silly stuff on the media? Or does it resonate with negativities? What does it resonate with? So here what it was resonating with, same thing is going to carry on, because the mind moves. Sukshma Sharir will move. That's why here we must create sanskars, really good sanskars, positive sanskars, spiritual sanskars, so that then we are assured. Then only at the last moment of death also those ideas will come into our mind. The thought of God, the thought of the Guru, something spiritual, elevating will come into our mind. Otherwise, the same silly stuff. Thakur used to give the example, no? A person who has not practiced any form of religion, even on his deathbed, will be saying, "Arey, trim the wick of that lamp, otherwise it will take more oil. I am paying from my pocket." So take care of this. Where our mind dwells here is where it will dwell even after it has moved on. And according to its resonance, its Shakti, it goes to these lokas. So here if there is strong attachment to material objects, then we go a little bit here and there and come back here. Another thing which impels the Sukshma Sharir is its karma. what kind of karma I have manufactured here. So if I have a good account of very good positive karma, I am assured of a good place. I am assured of a good place. So karma is very, very important in life. Only thing is, don't make the mistake of thinking karma is only physical. What I do with my hands and feet, that alone is not karma. What you do with your thought, with your mind, with your emotion, everything is karma. In fact, mental karma has greater impact. It is a bigger karma fall comes. So take care of this. How I used this equipment given to me. See, did we manufacture our body and mind? In a way we did, because according to our past only we get our body and mind. But it came like a gift to us. How I utilized it, where I invested it, that is very important. That is why if we live carefully, cautiously and responsibly, you will generate very good karma. And to the extent I have nurtured life around me, supported life around me, to that extent my karma will be positive. So only these two things are going to matter. Not our bank account, not what you leave your children, not your jewelry, not your house. All will be left behind. But these two things go with us. So we have to be very careful about them. If we are really, it's a mature life, it will take care of this. That's why some form of spirituality must come into our lives. Practicing devotion to God. What happens? Devotional sanskars were created. Every day you did some form of puja, arti, parayan, something like that. Your mind has become imbued with that. You're safe. In the afterlife, these things is what come to your aid. But I never did anything. That Shiva Aparadha Kshamapana Stotra, you have read that? Devi Aparadha Kshamapana. There repeatedly they are saying this. I never did your puja. I never offered you Ganga Jal. I never offered you flowers. I never thought of you consciously. What will be my fate, O Lord? So take care of these things. What your mind does is what is going to happen to you in the future. And see, the nature of karma phal is how, here you don't see the fruit of karma, but it is stored. Karma phal, karma shay it's called. It is stored in the cosmic mind and it descends on us at the right time. It descends on us at the right time. So please remember, human life, very many forces are working on it. That's why, actually speaking, there's no free will. Although you may want to do this and that and that and that, but your stars are not allowing it. Your karma is not allowing it. Your sanskars are not allowing it. So it's not happening and you're brooding and blaming somebody and getting jealous of somebody. You're doing all this. But many forces have to work for anything to happen. We must acknowledge this. And if you are a really mature life, make sure that your karma and sanskars are so positive that only good will work for you. Even the planets have deep influence on us. Do you know? Astrology is not the ultimate science, but it's a very important science. As long as your mind is active, astrology works for you. Yes, it impacts your mind. Mind is subtle matter, that is large physical matter, no? And it has its own deities that works on you. So you see the stars we are born under and the karma phal we have gathered through all our experiences and the sanskars we have gathered, they will create our life, our circumstances, the people around us, all of this. When I don't know if you know this, when babies are born, they create the astrological chart, isn't it? In India, even now they do it like fairly common. And in that, rare sannyas yoga will be there, which frightens the parents if that is there. If sannyas yoga is there, it means at some point that baby, that child, will try to shake off worldly attachments. So many parents take, just like Buddha's parents took precautions right from the beginning, they take those precautions so that it doesn't happen early or all that. But you see, even that is shown that that mind will try to shake off. So everything is there already. When Raman Maharshi used to say this, that when we are born, what baggage we are carrying, it can be known how that life will go. So right from the beginning, the most important thing then, the game changers, you can say, will be the parents and the teachers, the primary school teachers, not the professors of college, because these are the people who will give the right sanskars and impel that soul to go on the right path, no matter what its karma is. So you see, you play a great role in society. Always remember, parents, they are the givers of sanskars, mainly. If that is not there, or a Hindu religion always insisted on this. So many sanskars we have, no? So those karmas have to be performed to instill those sanskars. Everything is a sanskar. According to ancient Hindu law, if those sanskars are there, that life will move in a particular way. If nothing is there, it will go according to its, you can say, it can go tangentially away from the good things of life. According to the mean bulk of its sanskars, it will move accordingly. But there are ways to, change the course of that life through certain particular, at certain particular points. You see the Upanayana ceremony, for example, when that is performed in all seriousness, such a huge sanskar comes into the child. Gayatri is given at that time, and he is made to repeat Gayatri 108 times and throughout his life he has to do something like that. He has to stick to a particular discipline. All this is nothing but creating sanskars in the mind, isn't it? Isn't it important? Some exposure to these things, and at every step, actually, Hindu lawgivers have given so many, because these things should come into the mind. Then that life will not go off course, and it is not at the mercy of the external. Its own mind will guide it if sanskars are there. So the most important part of human psychology is sanskar, which is absent absolutely in modern psychology. What are we studying in modern psychology mainly? The sick mind. It's sickening. When you study only the mind bereft of sanskars, it lies in our hands what you create. See, we already discussed this. Your children come through you, not from you. When something has come through you, aren't you responsible for the way it will move? So you must give sanskars most of all. Even if you don't give your bank account, you must give your sanskars. Love of God, high level devotion, a clean life, and love of scriptures, love of knowledge for its own sake. These are the highest sanskars which parents can give children. And if there's a very stable family life, the child is seeing that. In many homes it's like that, isn't it? It's sorry to say that in some homes it's threatened. But in many homes, when you see the parents are best friends of each other, the child will grow into an emotionally mature adult. But if the child has seen divorce and fights and all that, he himself gets so shaken from within. Tomorrow, his mindset will be very different towards the family he will make, because he thinks this is permissible, this is an option to practice. So take care of all this. I told you, family is the starting point of psycho, spiritual and emotional growth. If you can do this, it's a huge contribution to society. Then only rishis will come out. Once somebody asked, one of our swamis, one great Maharaj is there. He was asked, earlier times we see so many rishis, rishikas, and such great women of such great, how much of this thing, virtue in their life. Nowadays, why don't we see that? Great mothers also are not there. Then he said it's only because sanskars are not being transmitted. The family unit, that is not functioning properly. And all the more this new generation messing up by no commitments and all that. So if that unit is stable, society remains stable. If society remains stable, good sanskars will come. You can be assured of a good humanity, isn't it? So here what they are trying to say is that a large chunk of human life, we don't know how it moves, what happens. So that is why awaken to awareness, the truth of awareness. Then look at this next verse. I would like to split up and read. So go there. Aham na prakashe iti ukti yat prakasha nibandhana katham aprakashatam swaprakasham atmanam sprishet. The meaning is, I don't know. Such statements have as their foundation illumination. How then can ignorance affect the self-luminous self? See, this is a very important observation. The fact that of our ignorance also is illumined by the same consciousness, isn't it? That consciousness which illumines our vrittis is also the same consciousness which illumines the absence of a vritti or a confused vritti or wrong knowledge, viparya, is the same. Now, if something is even illumining your ignorance, do you think that that consciousness is ever threatened by ignorance? No. Consciousness, pure being, the luminosity of your being, has nothing to do with the darkness of our minds. It is never threatened by ignorance. So the ignorance does not exist. That's why it is maya. Yama kintu pratiyate. Appears to be, but is not really there. So this kind of a positive affirmation of our divine nature, this is required all the time. See, this is Advaita Vedanta. The glory of Advaita Vedanta is this. Constantly affirming the truth of our unchanging nature, not the silliness of our minds. So that consciousness which illumines knowledge, illumines thought and produces knowledge, is also the consciousness that illumines ignorance. So ignorance can never be a threat to that consciousness. Darkness can threaten light, but darkness cannot threaten the source of light. So you are always full, complete, fully luminous of the nature of existence, consciousness, bliss, and only assert that. Only discover that. Commit yourself to that. This is what the verse is telling us. Many times you see, now when you go back home, this will happen. You keep brooding over something or the other. Why did I take this decision? Why is this happening to me? And why that person doesn't listen to me? All this is a ways of the mind. Just every day dip into, it's like Ganga Snan, I'm telling you, dip into Advaita Vedanta, you'll come out fresh. Then you handle. Start the day that way. Aham Brahmasmi, I am of the nature of the divine. Nothing else matters. So it's a huge liberation in itself. See, the Vedantic mind cannot dwell on small things. That's why. It becomes its nature is vastness. Brahman comes from the dhatu brihatvad Brahman, the vast. So that mind which has touched this truth cannot be a small mind. It cannot dwell on the small problems of life. Have you seen this? A spiritual mind by nature is udar, vast, wide, and all accepting. I remember this in this Desert Fathers, there's this very beautiful incident. You have heard of the Desert Fathers, the ancient Christian hermits who gave the foundations of Christianity. So they led very austere lives in the desert. And once there were two hermits who lived in the same hermitage or kutia, and one day they were discussing, hey, do you know how people fight? I want to know. Why do they fight and how they come to fight? Then he said, I also have seen, but I really don't know why people fight. Then he said, okay, let's try and fight. They are sadhus, no, they have really never fought with anyone. Huh? So then they say, well, let's practice and see. So we'll come to know what is a fight. They don't even know properly what is fighting. So then they said, how do we start a fight? So they had a brick in the cottage. So they brought the brick and he said, okay, you say this is mine. And I'll say, no, it's mine. And let's start the fight that way. This actually happened because that desert fathers, no, they very many interesting such incidents are there. So then that one young monk, he said, okay, this is mine. And immediately the other one said, oh, it's yours, take it. That's the end of the fight. So they couldn't even make a fight to understand what a fight means. That's the nature of the spiritual mind, is what I'm trying to say. It cannot dwell on small things. Its nature is, so many times it may not go into silly details. So that's okay. Practice the vast mind, If you live in nature, you will become like that. Constantly seeing the vast. See, even Holy Mother says this at one place. She says this, that if you live in a small room all your life, you will become a small person, she says. So keep seeing the vast and thinking of the vast and you will become vast. You know the story of Satyakama Jabala? It's a very interesting story. Many things can be learned from that story, okay? But one of the important things why I like that story very much is he learned all his lessons from nature. See, Satyakam is a young boy. Story comes in the Chandogya Upanishad. He's a young boy and he wants Brahma Vidya. See, this was the culture prevalent in those Vedic times. Everybody is perched so high. The child also starts thinking, I should have that knowledge. So he goes to his mother. He's hardly 8 or 9, according to the story. And then he goes to his mother and says, Mother, I want to go to this Rishi Gautama. One Rishi in those times had the same name. And then I want to learn Brahma Vidya. So I want to leave for my education. Please tell me about my lineage and my father's name and all that I will require to submit at the ashram. And then the mother becomes very serious. Her name was Jabala. And she says, look, my son, I only know you are Satyakam and I am Jabala. I don't know about your father. Because I served many people and that is how you were born. But I really don't know who was your father. See, such a self-damaging truth the mother is telling the son. And this child, that he's so committed to knowledge that he takes this truth to his guru. He goes to the ashram and tells the same thing to his guru, that my mother worked at many places, so we really don't know who my father is. But please accept me as your disciple because I only want Brahma Vidya. And then Guru, looking at his face, he says, my son, only a person of the highest caste can speak such a self-damaging truth, can be so bluntly honest about his life. Your very face and your words show you are born of very high parentage. Whatever may be the story of your mother's life, I accept you as my disciple. And then Satyakama started studying there with his guru, and he outshone all the other disciples. In fact, the guru tells him, you are a Brahmin. Only a Brahmin can speak such a truth about himself. So then he begins his education and he does so well. After some time, the guru says, the guru now knows that left to himself, he will get the highest. So he says, see, this is what happens. Many people say, oh, my, I don't have a guru, or my guru has passed on. How do I get this knowledge? You just stay in nature. I'm telling you. Everything descends from there. Yes, that is the Guru. Your mind will start functioning in a different way altogether. So this boy was sent into pure nature, into the forest with a few cows, and the Guru tells him that once they turn 1,000, tend to them and look after them. Once they turn 1,000, you come back, bring them back. So he goes to the forest. Now all his Brahma Vidya Jnana happens in the forest. Many years he lives there, tending these cows, and they multiply. And Satyakam is very, very meditative by nature. He meditates. He learns. Have you lived in a forest? Oh, you don't know what you have missed if you're living in these concrete jungles. We have lost all sensitivity. If we want to regain it, I'm really telling you, you must live in a forest. I'm not. I'm not suggesting you abandon everything and come off to the forest, but it's a totally different thing to live in nature. Your mind will be still by itself. A kind of sattva, vitality will arise within you. And all knowledge is nature gives. First of all, it will give you that knowledge that life is not selfish. You cannot live for yourself. And there is nothing called the ego. Only the vastness exists. And you are living in nature is nothing but the pure raw Panchamahabhut. It will transform your mind. And nature has a life and mind of its own. So you just live and then you'll know. And then what happens is this Satyakam, he gets 4 gurus in the forest. One is the bull. There's a bull in his herd which teaches him. It teaches him the 4 quarters of Brahman. Now he's after Brahma Vidya. It teaches him that all the directions are Brahman. See, all these have esoteric meanings. What they are saying. All the 4 quarters of Brahman means what? Consciousness pervades everything. Every direction is nothing but a vritti in your mind illuminated by consciousness. So everything is indeed Brahman. That knowledge he gets from the bull. Then the bull tells him, your next guru is coming. And the fire which he used to light at night, that starts talking to him and teaching him. Then he learns from the fire. Then he learns about the other quarters of Brahman. Every guru teaches him this only, that everything vibrating with life is nothing but consciousness manifesting as life around you. Every guru teaches him this only in different ways. Then there is a bird which teaches him after that. And then there is a diver bird, something like, I don't know, the name of the bird is not mentioned. That teaches him the 4th. So by this what he learns is, everything that is manifested around me bears the touch of consciousness. It is Brahman only manifesting as that thing. Not that the tree is Brahman. Brahman is manifesting as the tree. Like I told you, this is not, the wood is green. I mean, the table is green. Wood is manifesting as green table. It's like that. Only Brahman exists. It manifests as all of this. And that nature around him is so beautifully described. He is in the forest. And as it were, the gods of the forest are pouring all knowledge into him. And then he is in the rivers which flow through the forest. On the banks of lakes, he meditates. And all these animals around him teach him all the lessons. So once the cows have turned 1,000 and Satyakama comes back to his guru's hermitage, as soon as Gautama looks at him, he says, you have attained the knowledge of Brahman. Because your face is shining with that knowledge. I can see it. And really his entire disposition, his personality has become so divinized, see, by living in nature, that he is able to tell what he now knows. And he himself becomes a great teacher then. Satyakama Jabala was one of the greatest rishis of our land. So we have many lessons to learn from this story. First and foremost, you must live in nature to understand what it is. It is unexplainable, I'm telling you. For few years you do that, and you'll know. And secondly, see, more important than birth is this higher spiritual aspiration and truth, commitment to truth. Satyakama was blunt about his parentage. but the Guru understood his quality. So, birth is not everything, but the inner quality of the person matters all the more. So, this huge caste system which was in India, see, it was the earlier caste system was an attempt to actually segregate one particular group of people to pursue the highest knowledge. That's how that Brahmin caste arose. So, for generations, they were committed to the highest knowledge. But later on, we messed up by giving priorities to the caste system, isn't it? These people are more prioritized. So, that was wrong. Vivekananda points out to this. So, here in this story, what we see is no matter what a person's birth is, if he has the inner quality and if he is committed to the highest truth, he is a class apart. He is a class apart. So this story has so many things to tell, and how he learned those lessons from nature, that is also so beautifully described. You can learn from everything if you have an open mind. Open mind means empty mind, uncluttered mind, not silly conditioning of all sorts of things in the mind. An empty mind will learn from nature, and then the stillness which nature offers will give that sattva quality to the mind. That's why I saw this even in the US and in Europe and all that. They believe in living in nature. They go camping, hiking, and they live so much in nature. And they have this concept of forest bathing. Even in Japan, I saw so much of forest bathing, and all young people will go out and camp in nature because they want to experience that. And what are we doing? Think and see. First of all, such heavy, heaving population, and then the level of infrastructure development. That's why Delhi has touched 500 AQI. The sensitivity to nature, if it is not there, we will not be sensitive to any higher value in life. This is very clear. Please watch David Attenborough's documentary on nature and to what extent we are exploiting it, and how we desperately need to control populations to bring things back in shape. Please watch those documentaries and think for yourself. See, if you can't do anything else, at least plant 5 trees every week. This much you do very good karma for the planet. I'm telling you, it'll take you straight to God. 5 trees every week you must plant. And adoption of trees is there, means you must take care of them till they grow up. This much you please do. Each one of you, yes, I'm telling this everywhere. You please do this for me. 5 trees every week you plant, and even if they are very small saplings, protect them, see that they grow into good plants. Even if you are planting shrubs and rose gardens or whatever it is, plant 5 trees, 5 saplings. Please do this. It will go a long way, doing these things. And see, if you do this every week, imagine over the year you will have so much. And then you can give it to nurseries or people who can protect it. And if you are planting trees, especially in Delhi, we are doing drives to do this. Recently, near Jayashree's place only, there was a huge plantation drive. It has to be done because otherwise we'll be in a total mess in another 30 years. And this alpha generation which is coming up, they will grow into something strange. Without the touch of nature, you cannot keep up the vibrancy of the mind. So if they don't grow up in nature, they will become very perverted, I'm telling you. Only at the mercy of that multimedia all the time and social media. What is this? Even a sunset and sunrise they are seeing on their screen. It's so pathetic, isn't it? Many I have, when I was giving courses in the IIT, they are telling me we have not seen a sunrise. I said, hey Bhagwan. Means rarely sometime in childhood they have seen a sunrise. They don't get up only. All the labs in IITs are functioning at night. They are all nocturnals. They don't get up in the morning. But look at the sunrise and sunset here. It's a magical moment. How can you miss all these things? So take care of nature and nature will take care of you. Dharmo rakshati rakshitaha and dharmo hantaram hanti. Our main purpose now is to take care of nature. You should remember this. Because that's the need of our planet. So with this, let us end today's session. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.